Now, joining us is our panel, News Corp columnist Louise Roberts and Nova Radio's Michelle Stevenson. Ladies, welcome. Now, Louise, I'll start with you. What was your favourite tribute to the Queen, and what are your thoughts on the popularity of the monarchy a year on?
Good evening, Caroline. Well, I loved seeing Kate and William walking around Pembrokeshire in Wales, being the Prince and Princess of Wales, of course, and that beautiful bouquet of flowers of eucalyptus and white roses they left in front of the portrait of the Queen, with a very simple message on social media as well: "We all miss you," which sums it up. That's how everyone feels the world over. There was no sort of extra flowery language or any kind of all about them. It was just a very simple message, and I thought that was beautiful. Typical Kate and Catherine as well.
And Michelle, your thoughts?
Well, I have to say, I can't believe it's been a year. I remember when it happened so distinctly, like we covered it live, and it was quite a devastating day, I know, for so many people, and she will be continually missed. But I have to say, one of the things that I thought was particularly poignant was they released this portrait of her that was she sat for in 1968. It was a photograph, and it had never been seen before, and Buckingham Palace released that. It was quite a beautiful portrait where she was in all her royal regalia. But also what was really great was a bunch of people got together with all the corgis outside Buckingham Palace, and they dressed the corgis in tiaras and with uniforms, and it was quite a beautiful sight, and they vowed to do it every year, and I think that that's just wonderful.
And she would absolutely love something like that. Like,
absolutely.
You just know that she would be smiling down from the heavens at something like that. Now, let's move on to the Invictus Games, and we've seen some fabulous footage of Prince Harry opening the Games in Germany. Here's a clip.
Willkommen zu den Invictus Games 2023 here in Düsseldorf. These games are not solely about medals, PBs, or finishing lines. They are about overcoming any and all perceptions that have held you back. Are you ready? Let's do this!
Louise, it's such a fabulous event, and I'm actually really happy to see Harry back doing this sort of thing. But it's amazing how the conversation around Meghan and her not attending still manages to rate a mention in amongst all of this excellence at this event.
Absolutely right, and it is an event for wounded, injured, or soldiers who have been disabled and veterans that have returned and can compete in a fantastically wholesome environment on the international stage. And to be fair to Harry, when he's there, he does feel, you can see the passion. It's almost like a relief that Meghan's not there in a way, because she's not stealing the spotlight in person, but as you say, still stealing a lot of the narrative around it. He sort of mentions things about her to try and keep her as part of the conversation, but certainly from the veterans' point of view, they're probably glad just to see Harry there.
Michelle, this is what we want to see more of Harry. I love seeing him in this sort of environment. He looks so natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is Harry's wheelhouse, you know. This is the stuff that he thrives off and the stuff that he is so good at. And it's so good to see him getting back to this kind of environment where we see him smiling. I mean, a lot of people might say he's smiling because he's without his wife. But I think I really like Harry, and I'm really grateful to see him back doing this stuff. And it's such a great thing that he's doing here, the Invictus Games, and they've added more countries to it. I noted he was talking about Nigeria, and that's when he gave a nod to his wife. But look, I think we want more of this Harry.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if he can channel his energy this way, I feel like it's better for everyone, and it takes a whole lot of heat out of the situation. But Louise, Harry is now in Britain for the Well Child Awards. He did visit Windsor Castle to pay tribute to the Queen, but somehow he's still managed to draw criticism.
Well, that's right, because nowhere in this very tight agenda of going back to the UK for these awards, which of course are a fabulous event and sort of, you know, highlight a lot of sick kids and children who've made a terrific pathway in life, but there was no meeting with his father, there was no meeting with his brother. His brother was 100 miles away, we're led to believe. There was no opportunity for Archie or Lilibet to see their grandfather. as well, the king. And let's not forget, these are two kids who don't see their maternal grandfather either, because Meghan's also estranged from her dad in California. So there was plenty of opportunity for Harry to bring the family, even if he didn't want to bring Meghan, and sort of make it a very special event for the king a year on from the death of the Queen. But of course, nothing.
But of course, Louise, I even saw criticism about what he wore to go to church.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's interesting now that his items, whatever he chooses to wear, whether it's a designer suit or he's not dressed up enough or he's too casual, the criticism is very nitty-gritty on Harry. I have to admit, there's nothing is left to chance, really.
Yeah, to be honest, even for me, it's got a little bit in the weeds on things like that. But Michelle, look, like Louise said, he isn't going to see his family. But does that really surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me. And look, I think the king actually said that he was quite busy with other arrangements. So I don't know which side of the fence is kind of refusing to see the other side. I think it'll take a while for the ice to actually thaw between him and his brother and his father. A lot of harsh words have been said on both sides. We have to admit that not all of them have really come to the party to kind of solve this and get back together. So look, I'm not surprised. He was also really quick. It was a fly in, fly out. But, you know, he did the important stuff. He gave a tribute to his grandmother, and that's the Harry that we want to see. You know, he made a point that he no longer wanted to be part of this family. He's kind of sticking to it. So.
Yeah. But this week as well, we saw Princess Anne, Prince William and Princess Kate all featured on Mike Tindall's podcast. Here's some of that for you.
It is a massive weekend for all the home nations in the Rugby World Cup.
So we're not going to acknowledge this, are we?
The only time I've ever cried watching sport was when Zara won. I think it was the European Championship.
Well, that was incredible. You came back and you said, I've never been
We
so
were
proud of
hustled around the
anyone.
phone watching it.
Yeah.
And she was there, she was blubbing away, the flag was going up,
Yeah.
and I was just like, 1,000 pieces.
Now, Louise, there were some pretty interesting tidbits and a few admissions made by the various royals. It was a really interesting conversation, I thought.
It was really interesting. And I know you and I have spoken about how much we love Princess Anne and what a great role model she is. And I thought it was very interesting when she started talking about her daughter and saying that if she ever tried to give advice, she was dismissed as a dinosaur, which you could never imagine Zara not taking her mother's advice at all. But also I thought what William said about wanting to teach his children about the art of losing gracefully and how to lose and how to you know, participate in team sports and what lessons to learn if you do lose, but also how to be a good winner. I thought that was very interesting to come from the future king.
And Michelle, while this is essentially the royals talking amongst themselves, the lack of formality and the nature of the conversation, and even like the comments that Louise has just made, it gives them a sense of relatability, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this is really smart on their part because, you know, since the death of the Queen Elizabeth, I think they've kind of lost a few brownie points, and also what's been going on with Prince Harry. They've kind of had to reel people back in a little bit, and there was always going to be a bit of disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation. This is really smart of them to kind of come across more relatable, and what better way to do it than a podcast? I mean, that's what everyone's kind of listening to. It's the touch point. And just to have them kind of sitting there and being a bit more vulnerable, a bit more open. But look, Princess Anne, I mean, who doesn't love her? I could listen to her and follow her around all day long. She is just, I'm sure she's just a cheeky aunt in the corner that you just want to sit by all night and just listen to her regale stories.
But you know what I love? I love that her relationship with her daughter is probably not dissimilar to the relationships that we have with our mums. Like, you always think that your mum is a dinosaur, right? But it's kind of nice to know that despite them being royals, you know, the same kind of rules apply.